back to another episode of MGE Table Talk. I am your host, T. Turner, and I know last time I said we were going to do these on a more regular basis, but I got a full confession to make. We got real busy on the production side, so I wasn't able to do as many as I like, but you're in for a treat because I came back with a vengeance, because I have sitting next to me someone who I grew up listening to, someone who I have a lot of admiration for his art. I call it art because, you know, the way he manipulates words and everything, like, it's something special and it's something to behold. So it is an honor and a privilege to be sitting right here. I'm gonna say his government name, McKinley Phipps, but y'all know him professionally as Matt. Thank you for sitting down with us at Table Talk.
Man, pleasure, and it's a pleasure to be here. I'm honored to actually be here. I definitely appreciate that introduction. I do consider myself an artist, and I've been so since I was 7 years old, and man, it's just great to be acknowledged for that.
Well, I mean, and then art is just kind of like in your family. I mean, your mother does art as well, correct?
Yeah, well, my mother is a visual artist. My father is an actual visual artist. They both paint. All of my brothers and sisters, we all are connected to art in some capacity. We either paint, draw, or both. And 3 of my siblings are also musicians. My sister is well, 4 of them actually. Both of my sisters are musicians. Both of my younger brothers are musicians. And even my brother that's under me, so we're all pretty much connected to music and art. One of my youngest brother was actually a trombone player for Solange, for Beyonce's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, for some years, so he got to travel the world with her. And yeah, it pretty much runs through our family, art and music.
So you said you have 4 siblings, right?
No, I have 5 siblings.
5.
It's 6 of us.
So it's 6 total.
I'm the oldest.
So y'all could be like a Jackson 6 almost?
Not quite, but yeah, but you know, our passion and our love for it is the same. But you know, most of them actually have their own jobs and their own lives. It's just something they do for fun or whatnot. The only ones that kind of did it professionally was me and my baby brother. My brother that's over him, he do it professionally part time.
Right.
But the rest of them just do it because they love to do it.
Just naturally inclined.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, a lot of people like to touch on just like, you know, the beginnings of Mac and everything like that. I kind of want to pick it up from a different angle. I want to talk to you first because this is something that I've heard about you for like a long time. And now that I have you here, you can like confirm if it's true or not. The word on the street was you actually got offered a recording contract with Def Jam before you got with No Limit. Is that true or not? I heard that, and I just wanted to make sure if that was true or not.
Well, it wasn't a formal offer for a contract, but it was more of like I had a meeting with a guy named Kevin Lyles, who was working for Def Jam at the time, and he was very interested in my music. I rapped for him. I played my demo for him, and he was definitely interested. And he's talked to me about possibly coming to New York. And the day I left out of his room, I ran into Master P and a lot of people from No Limit on the elevator. It's almost like it was destined in some sense. And ran into them, went to their party, and the rest is pretty much music history. I ended up signing with them pretty much because of the convenience of it being close to home.
Right.
The headquarters was in Baton Rouge, which is an hour away from New Orleans, and I felt that if things didn't work out, I could always go back home versus being all the way on the East Coast. Things don't work out. I'm stuck in New York. I don't know anyone in New York. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much one of the determining factors. The other was that I knew that on No Limit, I would stick out like a sore thumb. And that's what I wanted. You know, if I'd have got signed to Def Jam, I probably would have fell in, you know, and there's a possibility it could have worked out as well. Mm-hmm. It could have been big, but I also knew that there was the possibility that I would just sound like every other East Coast rapper, because at the time I was heavily into East Coast music, and it was evident in my sound.
So, okay, I'm glad you cleared it up, because for years that was always a thing, and I'm like, I wonder if that's true or not. The second thing I wanted to touch on too is you have some songs from your first 2 albums, Shellshock and World War III, with an artist named Storm. Is Storm the same Storm that was affiliated with Tupac and the Outlaws?
Man, I've been asked that question a lot. No.
Okay.
Nah, Storm was a friend of mine named Janelle. She was a hell of a rapper. You know, she doesn't rap anymore, but she was a hell of a rapper in the 90s.
Most definitely. She was very...
you know, she had a very smooth style, and we met and we just clicked. And we've been like brother and sister ever since. And yeah, that's my girl.
Okay, because that was, you know, barbershop conversations and everything. It was always like, is that the same?
This Storm is actually from New Orleans.
Okay.
Storm that I'm referring to, she's from New Orleans.
Okay, so that was all. Okay, so we got those two things cleared up. So now I want to kind of pivot and talk to you about World War III. Now, a lot of people, you know, especially when they speak to you and even when they speak of you, they always bring up Shellshock, that debut, your second album, because your first album came out when you were more of a teenager.
Right, a kid rather, but
right.
But I consider Shellshock like my first nationwide debut.
Right.
Right.
But a lot of people bring that album up. But I want to take a different take on it and talk about World War III, because they're very different albums in sound.
Right.
Shellshock, you know, it was just up there energy wise and everything.
Right.
World War III feels more like a lyrical album. Like it was really kind of around the lyrics and what you were doing, and it showed a different progression.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the differences that you saw in World War III and Shellshock and your development as an artist?
All right, first I would say musically it was different in that it was different producers at that time too as well. That was during the time that Beats by the Pound and No Limit kind of split.
Right.
So we had different producers. We had XL, we had Ree, my boy Ree, who did Best Friends, which most people know is You Was My Nigga, Now We Do.
Yeah. Track 3.
So he did that one. We had X, we had Ree, we had Suge. Man, I know I'm probably forgetting somebody else just off the top of my head. I done 2 of the tracks. My boy Rod Smooth did a track on there. Keno. It was just different producers. And I know I'm missing somebody, and if I'm missing somebody, my bad. Blame it on my age, I'm old. So we did the World War III record, and musically I think it was more melodic. You know, it was more melodic, and I think the energy was there. I just think that the energy was transferred. The energy was geared toward a different direction.
It seemed a little bit more mature in that you were on a different trajectory, because even from the intro,
right,
it seemed like you were gearing up to be a little bit more political in your music.
Well, it was definitely, I would say, more political in tone, and also it was a different time in my life at that time. I mean, Shellshock was just me telling the world I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, in this sea of all these other people, I am here, and I'm gonna bring this energy. This is where I'm at. So that was my mindset on Shellshock, and it was like my debut. So I just was kicking in the door. I mean, I'm kicking in the door with
no holds barred,
absolutely just bogarting my way into the game. And World War III was more of like, okay, so you've heard me jumping up and down with the rah. You heard all that, right? So now I want you to think a little more. And it was my experiences at the time had brought me to a different place. I mean, Shellshock was a reflection of hunger. You know, as we said, just making sure you know I'm here. World War III was more of like, I've been here, and here's how I feel as a result of what I've seen so far. And I think it was a more, I won't say a darker, but it was a more introspective time in my life. And I think the music displayed that.
Yeah, and I mean, growing up, I had a great appreciation for that album, because I felt like it was highlighting, you know, like, we all know that you're lyrical. but I felt like it really highlighted that skill set of where you were and showcasing how much of a top tier artist that you really are. Even just from the intro.
And I appreciate that too.
Well, I mean, it's all truth. It's all truth. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even from the intro, which again, it just played different. And I want to ask you this too. It was the Black Lion Coalition that was spoke of in the intro. Was that an actual organization that you were starting, started?
It was in its infancy, in its beginning stages. We were forming it, and we was basically, it was my response to, just wanting. It really started with a simple concept. It was basically just getting guys in my neighborhood to vote. You know what I mean? It's something that I think that as young Black men, I think it's something that we're not really exposed to by certain people, I would say. Because, I mean, there are politicians and people come and ask you to vote for them. But, when you're in the hood, man, and the people you listen to are the people on the corner, the people you see all the time.
Right.
And, because I was from that environment, it was my way of saying, like, yo, it's cool. Because, I mean, look at me. I have some money. I'm, quote unquote, on, and, by some people's standards, successful. And I'm from the hood, and I'm encouraging you to vote.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not vote for any particular person, but just vote, because
and just be civically minded.
Right, because in the grand scheme of, in a democratic system, I mean, it doesn't always. Of course, we have other factors involved, but just fundamentally, voting reigns supreme in a democratic system.
Right.
So I felt that we needed to get more involved in the decisions that that shape and form our community, and I think I felt that the first step towards that was vote.
Right. Are there any plans of reigniting the Black Lions Coalition?
Never thought about it. It was definitely. It's a concept that I think need to be revisited. The name would probably be different, just because I've matured, and I would like to represent something more universal, and but the concept is the same.
Okay. Now I want to delve more into the World War III album too, because again, I personally feel like it doesn't get the same attention as a Shellshock, right, but I feel like it should.
Yeah, it didn't sell as much as Shellshock. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, but we also know this too, that sales don't always equal quality.
No, I was saying that's why one got more attention.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The one that sold the most is a reflection of the fact that it was exposed to more people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
The song "Lockdown." Mm-hmm. If irony was a song,
right?
Because I remember listening to it, and it was so eerie when I would listen to it in the midst of your situation, because it's like it wasn't the same scenario, but it was the fact that it's almost like you predicted it. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that song today, like sitting here now?
Right. Well,
and what inspired it?
All right, so, to take away the mystery of it was, I had a dream. I mean, it's just cut and dry. I had a dream like in 1996, I believe. I had a dream, and I woke up, I wrote the dream down, and I wrote down everything I saw in the dream, and then I took that dream and turned it into a song, and that song was Lockdown. I originally recorded it on the I'm About It soundtrack. And I didn't think that the mix on the I'm About It soundtrack was, I didn't think the mix was up to the standard of the song, so I felt the need to revisit the song. I added a different hook to it, and gave it a different track, something more thought-provoking, something more dramatic. And because I felt that that type of story deserved it. I had no idea that I would live it, like some months later, that I would walk into a situation that actually brought that song to life. And for the first couple of months in the jail, man, I was in a state of shock because I literally was watching everything I said in the song come true, like verbatim. And it was weird, you know, and it was just a very, I remember it being a very an eye-opening moment for me. And it just made me, it made me more conscious of the language I choose and the words I use, because I am a firm believer, and ironically, I believed it before I recorded the song, but I guess sometimes some things have to be shown to you for you to fully accept it. And I'm a believer that everything that everyone says is going to come to pass. I just don't think we be conscious of what it is. And not to sound, you know, mystical or, you know, not to frighten anyone, but I just believe that everything that every human being says, everything that comes out of your mouth is a part of this whole.
Right.
And it has to land somewhere. And that energy is transferred through some means. And I think we even unconsciously know it because we say stuff like, man, I said that.
Right.
When something happened, right? Yeah. But we're just not conscious of it. We just unconsciously say, man, I said that, man. And that'd be that.
And then but it's there.
Right.
I got you.
And that's the lesson I learned from that song. You know, it was a hard lesson. It cost me a lot of years, a lot of pain. And yeah.
Yeah, that and I was even debating on even asking you about that song, but I felt like it needed to be asked because, you know, number one, you know, just again, just the irony. Anyone who's heard the song and then they're familiar with you is like, wow. Like I remember having conversations with friends just on hours on end, and we're like, oh my gosh, like did he predict this? Like that, like it really just blew our mind at the time.
Short answer is yes, I did. I mean, that is a fact. That is something that can't be debated.
Right.
It was spoken about 4 years before it happened, so that can't be debated.
Yeah.
Now, how did this happen is I guess you would say is the meat and bones of it. And the short answer is I have no idea. Yeah. And had I had an idea, I would not have said it. You know what I mean? You
would have just put that in you would have kept that in the notebook.
Nah, I'm gonna put this here. You know what I'm saying? But it happens, you know.
Right. So just kind of turning the page a little bit. During that time, you know, you were saying that just recording that album, it had more of a melodic tone. It was, it had a different feel to it. You know, this is your second major album that's nationwide and everything. What's your mindset like, you know, leading up to recording the album and during the recording and then it being released? Like, what's the mindset now? Because in a sense, you know, you've made it. You know, you talked about Shellshock having that intense hunger in it. This is after the hunger has been achieved. You know, what's the mindset there?
Oh, I never lost the hunger. It was like, all right. Man, it was weird, and this is real talk. It was weird. No Limit was spitting out so many albums so frequently.
It was like an assembly line.
It was like an assembly line. Or it could be compared to a fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
So them orders was coming in, and we had to go ahead on and fill them orders. So we really didn't have time to give thought to how we gonna dress this burger up and put these letters in.
Add a little ketchup in.
Yeah, we didn't have time for all that. It was like, yo, man, you better look, the people just ordered X, Y, Z, you better have that ready right now. So we were going in there so fast, we had to think fast. We had to think on our feet. So it was just like the songs, I was always recording songs. Whether it was at the studio, at my house, because I had a little pre-production, set up at the house. And I just was always working on stuff anyway. So World War III was probably some of the songs that I didn't use from Shellshock. Right. And plus some more, or not even Shellshock, probably songs from years prior, you know what I mean, that I wrote. In fact, there was a song on, I think it was called They Got Me Know It, Paranoid, on Shellshock.
I remember, yeah. It was on Shellshock.
Man, Shellshock, Paranoid was probably about 5 years old.
Really?
When I recorded it, if I'm not mistaken. Because I just had a lot of songs. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
but I think that's also a testament to your talent, that it can still shine so much in the midst of, the fast food culture that was no limit at the time, just cranking them out. But the quality of your songs and the quality of your verses and even features, it never lost the quality there. It's not like you got into a routine and it's just like, okay, you can hear him like, oh, Matt kind of lazy on that song. You never heard the laziness stuff. So how did you maintain that level of just, I'm gonna still have the most quality verse that I can write, or the most quality song that I can put together, even in the midst of the fast food culture?
Short answer, I have no idea.
Because it's like you're still it's like, yeah, the burgers are coming fast, but your burger still tastes a little bit better than what's to be expected from a McDonald's burger.
And because you put it that way, formula. See, I already had a formula for my patties. Okay. You know what I mean? I had already seasoned them. They were already like in the fridge already. So when it was time for
it was already marinated.
It was already ready. So all I had to do was stick them on the grill for a few minutes and then put them out. They was already cooked. Okay. And so that was the thing. Like I didn't like, when it was time for me to work on my album, I literally was just recording songs that had already been written, prepared, and was already ready. So, and I had KL and any producer that was at No Limit at the time, they used to call me like the one take man. I come in there and do everything in one take. It's over with. I'm a holler at you. I got other stuff to do. So I'm coming in there. It was two things that I think that at No Limit that people knew me for. I was gonna do the song in one take, and I cut all the lights out in the studio. So when you walked in the studio and every light was off and it was pitch black in there, yeah, Mac must be in here.
Now, why did you cut all the lights off?
Because I didn't want anything I saw to distract from what I was doing, or from my message. So I didn't want to see anything. I just wanted to, it was equivalent to a rapper closing his eyes. You know how people get in the booth or they sing and they close their eyes because they don't want no distractions. They just want to focus on what it is they're saying and to see what you're saying in your head. Like, most of my songs were stories I was telling. So, and I'm pretty sure any rapper that does the same, like most of your storytellers, they actually see this in their head as they're rapping it and formulating these stories. So having the lights off was like, equivalent to me, we're in the theater, the lights out, and now the camera is rolling, and I'm seeing everything I'm saying.
Which, that makes sense because I've always described your lyrics as cinematic. Right. Like you can see them. They play out like movies, so that makes sense that you would be in the dark.
Yeah, and that's why. It's like being in the dark room developing a film. Right. So equivalent to that.
Okay. Now, kind of revisiting about like when we were touching on the Black Lions Club, and with everything that's happened with you, has it made you more politically astute? Like, do you pay attention to politics a little bit more now than maybe you did before as a younger man? Like, you know, and how do these experiences kind of play into your thought process when it comes to politics, the judicial system, and because they're both married together, because politicians influence the judicial system because, you know, they're the people who write the laws, pass the laws, and put them on the books and everything like that. How has that kind of influenced your take on like the political world?
Politics is a crazy place.
Strange bedfellows.
Yeah, and for me, man, excuse me, throat clogged up. So I think I've always been in some way, and I think that most people, I think that we all, to some degree, are politically motivated in some way or another. I mean, from the most, on the most mundane levels, I mean, even in high school, you roll with the in crowd. You know, everybody wants to be part of that, wants to be part of where the light is shining.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think politics is the same way. It's like, in this country, what makes it special, I would say, you know, some might disagree. And of course, we have a million problems, and I don't want to, I definitely don't want to undermine any of the struggles or those who may feel that, you know, that to some degree we don't get a fair piece of the pie, because I definitely don't think we do. But just politics in general, not black politics, not white politics, just politics in general. I think that in this country, democracy allows us, or allows the people, to play a significant role in shaping and forming the way our communities and society by and large is going to be. And I think that's a great thing. And so I've always been one who felt like I was a part of the whole, you know, even with all of the setbacks, even with all of the barriers, whether they supposed or actual. I've always felt, regardless of all of that, that I'm here, I matter, I belong here, and my voice counts. And that's just that. And if you don't listen to my voice, then I'm gonna scream in your face so you can hear me. You know what I mean? I've never felt like, oh, you know, I'm not a part of this, or, you know, they doing this. No. You're gonna have to show me that I ain't a part of this.
Right.
And you're gonna have to run over me to let me know that I'm not a part of this, because I'm here.
Right.
You know, so that's how I feel. If that even made sense. America, I don't know if that made sense. Yeah.
It made sense. I completely follow. Now, kind of getting into like modern day Mac right now. You've been paroled.
Right.
And you're someone who you've maintained your innocence throughout the entire situation.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that you are happy to be home. I think you've expressed that ad nauseum, that you are happy to be here. But would it have been more rewarding for you if it would have been a pardon as opposed to parole?
It's a weird thing. Because a pardon, technically, all a pardon says is that, you know, I guess it kind of washes it away, per se. And man, nothing can wash this away. I spent 21 years of my life in prison for absolutely nothing,
right,
for committing no crime. So nothing can wash this away. I don't think that the pardon would have brought any significance on my part. I just wanted my freedom. Now, the objective was to always be exonerated. And that was, and that's because just personally, on a personal level,
right,
I always wanted to prove to the victim's family, the victim in my case's family, that I didn't kill their child. I've always wanted to prove that and be validated in that claim by the courts so that they can see that, yo, you know, as I mentioned, I didn't kill your child.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was more important to me than actually being pardoned. Being pardoned is basically just saying, well, all right, now you're off parole, you're off this, you're off that. And I really don't have any issues with parole supervision because, number one, I don't drink, I don't smoke. The parole officer could come piss test me every 2 hours if she felt like it, literally. And she would get the same results. You know what I mean? So as far as a pardon, it would have been a great thing. And if it happens in the future, it will be a great thing. But I definitely didn't need a pardon to validate my freedom.
Right. And I guess I bring it up because I know that you're very adamant about having that established that, you know, you are innocent.
Right. So that's why I say exonerated is the thing that I would have preferred to be exonerated rather than pardoned.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I definitely would, the goal, the overall goal. And, you know, there's still a chance to do that, to prove my innocence. And that's just something personal that I want to do, just to prove to that young man's family. Right.
I can tell you just, again, as someone who grew up on your music, you turned me into a part-time lawyer. I was looking, I'm like, I'm arguing people now with the ballistics didn't match. And they're like, what does the ballistics mean, Terrence? I'm like, I checked it out. The ballistics just don't match. And so I was a fierce defender. And I mean, I literally would just be studying the case nonstop and like, that don't match. And they railroaded him. And
man, I was
very passionate about it.
I appreciate that. I'd have been like, yo, the ballistic. Well, what the ballistic? I mean, bullets, fool. You know what I mean? Bullets.
They did not match.
I just made up a word. Bullet sticks. Ballistics.
but yeah, so I can tell you that made me pay attention. And do you have any desire to maybe even work more closely with organizations that are working closely with like the judicial system to help people who may be wrongfully imprisoned, you know, similar to yourself?
Well, one of the things I'm doing and I'm a big advocate for is I am totally against song lyrics being used against rappers in court. My song lyrics were used against me in court. They were used in
which I still don't understand how they could.
They were used in.
They could use it as some kind of admissible evidence.
Well, the slick thing is, in my case, they didn't use it as admissible evidence. The prosecutor's words was he was using because my lawyer objected. Like yo, objection. Like that's totally unrelated to the crime.
Right.
And he was like, well, I'm using it to establish his character.
You still can't do that.
You see what I'm saying? So, in that regard, it was allowed for him to establish my character. Basically, in layman's terms, he wanted to prove to the jury that I was capable. That he wanted something that can point to me having murderous thoughts.
Right.
Because he didn't have any physical evidence. He didn't have any.
The ballistics didn't match.
The ballistics didn't match. The witnesses were the so-called eyewitnesses had changed their stories, and there was no credible witnesses. So all he can point to was, well, he got this music that he talks about X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And so I'm a big advocate for. I'm a big advocate for freedom of speech, number one. And me and a few of my friends have been pushing this bill that was passed in New York just recently.
I read about that.
We helped. We were some of the people who wrote support letters for it, and we're trying to get laws like that passed all across the country.
Right.
You know, state by state if we can. Would love for it to happen on a federal level because I just don't think that rap music is. I just don't think that it is conclusive enough to be used in the courtroom as evidence. Because, I mean, as a rapper,
it's art and entertainment.
Yeah, it's art, and then just from a artist's perspective, I know that a lot of the stuff that we write is totally fiction or highly exaggerated.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely not conclusive enough to be actual evidence in court. That's ridiculous, and I just don't think that. I don't think it's right, and I'm gonna always. Be on the side of defending the artist's freedom to say what they want to on their records.
Right. Okay, so now just the everyday life of Mac. You know, you've, again, You're out of your situation now. You know, you're home. What does a regular day for Mac consist of now? When you're not touring, because I know you were on tour as well too. But what does just an average day for Mac consist of now?
You know, I go to work. When I leave work, I spend time with my family. I check on my family members, my extended family members. And
now, what is the work that you do?
I actually work with kids.
Okay.
I work at a youth camp, and it's something I'm passionate about because I feel like the biggest investment, and this is not a soundbite, the biggest investment that we can make is investing our time to spend with to have a positive influence on kids, because I think that just in the most lamest terms I could put it, in 20 years from now, them little kids is gonna be the adults running the country.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'm gonna be old. And I don't need no damn fools out there making no decisions for my old ass.
Right.
When I can't do a lot of things for myself.
Right.
So I ain't one of the people that's gonna sit back and complain about the way these kids is. I'm gonna go on the ground.
You gotta plant the seeds now.
Right. I'm gonna get in it. You know, I wanna be in the thick of it, and I wanna give myself. Because some people give money, and guess what? I am very thankful, and we love the people that actually donate money to these causes. But me, I just have a deeper connection to it than that. I want to donate me. I give myself to it because I'm just a tactile person. I like to be there. I like to be in it.
Right.
You know, I don't like to see it from a distance.
You want to be right there in the midst.
I'm an artist. I got to feel it. You know what I mean? So that's why I work there, and it's something I love doing.
Okay. And now, what else does a regular day for Mac consist of? You got your counseling gig.
Yeah, leave that, go home, take a nap, because I ain't gonna lie. The flip side of it is kids will drain you. Man, it's hot. Louisiana's heat is unmatched. And
Louisiana heat is way different.
And mix that with a lot of different personalities. So when I get home, and then factor in America, I'm old. So
he keeps saying he old, but I sense a youthful spirit.
So I get home, I'm like, man, I be thinking I'm young till I gotta take that old man nap. See, when you reach a certain age, America, you're gonna take that old man nap. And that 15, 20, 30 minutes, little breathing.
Just a little power nap. That's all that is.
I'm gonna rebrand it, a power nap.
Yeah, there we go. It's not an old man nap, it's a power nap.
It's an old man nap. So I take my little old man nap, get up, and I spend time with my family. I like to work around the house. I like to build stuff. I go work on music. I like to work at music in the middle of the night when everybody is like asleep, or
when it's dark.
Yeah, when it's dark, and I can hear my thoughts, and I can hear those little voices that be in my head. So, that write the songs for me. Now, America, don't believe that. So I do that. I like to work around the house. I get up, cut the grass, dodge the snakes in the yard.
Louisiana does have a lot of snakes.
Yeah. This is Louisiana. We're in the swamp. They got snakes everywhere.
Yeah.
I was at my business partner's house the other day, and there was an alligator in a pond behind his house. So it's just the way it is in Louisiana.
Just for no reason, just that.
For no reason, like, dude, why you here, man? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I go to my mom's art gallery, spend some time there. Go spend some time at my grandmother's house. Holler at my nieces and nephews. Just enjoying family. Mm-hmm. Calling some of my partners up, holler at Reed, my boy D. Just whatever, man. When I spend some time with my son, it's always an opportunity just to share and to breathe with people you love.
Right. And just, I imagine just, really embracing and really just, enjoying that time, because I know you missed so much time, even though you had, you always speak of your family as being, your support system, and, they were there present with you, but it's different when you can really be around them and really, just be at leisure with them. So I imagine that you do enjoy that time a lot.
Yeah. I definitely enjoy. I enjoy being with them on a whole nother level now. For years my family came to see me in the visiting shed and visiting room rather, and it always just gave me the energy I needed, for the rest of the week. But yeah, just spending time with the family, man, is probably the most important thing that we can do. And, I encourage people to not wait until, a situation like mine's occurred to start spending time with your family, because believe it or not, when it's all said and done, all that really matters is the memories you make with the family. Not them cars, not their jewelry, none of that stuff. All of that stuff is going to someday be meaningless to you. And I know this for a fact. And the only thing that's really going to matter to you is your memories and the things and the times you spent with the people you love. So I try to make sure that I let nothing come in between that. I try to, me and my wife, we do almost everything together. Because, when you marry someone and you make that type of commitment, that's what you make the commitment for. You don't make it for that person to be decoration on your arm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And vice versa. You make it so you make a commitment to spend the rest of your life with a person. And so, yeah, we do a lot together. We spend a lot of time together, and we're growing together. There's a lot of things about myself that the relationship has taught me. Some mostly great things.
Right.
And then some things, damn, didn't want to admit that. You know what I mean?
Now you making me face it, huh?
Yeah, it's like I was running from America. I was running from that. Yeah.
Now, so tell me now, who are some artists that Mac can appreciate lyrically? And I understand that's a big ask, because you are someone who takes the art of lyricism serious. But what artists do you look at? And we can even look at just
lyrically?
Just lyrically, but we can also look at not even just mainstream. They could be close to home. Are there any artists out of New Orleans and area that strike Mac as, oh, okay, yeah, lyrically they on point?
All right, well, there are a few people, that I really like as far as lyrically, if we're talking lyrics, because some of the stuff I like is just not all that lyrical. Some of the stuff I like is just, I like my fried chicken too.
Exactly.
Even though I know it ain't good for you all the time, I like a little fried chicken too.
You got to have a good mix.
Yeah, but as far as lyrics is concerned, of course, I have to put your J. Cole, your Kendrick Lamar's. These are the kind of people I appreciate listening to. Lupe Fiasco. I appreciate Wale. I appreciate my homie D1, because D1 is not only lyrical, he has a consistent positive message behind the lyrics.
Right.
And I think that his positive messaging sometimes, I think, in some people's mind, it overshadows the fact that the lyricism is actually on point and A1.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's real crafty, it's real witty, and even if you take the positive factor out of it, just creatively is on point.
Right.
And that was always my thing. Like, I listen to some artists, and I won't name a few. You have artists like another example would be of someone that I feel is lyrically on point that I don't think gets a lot of credit for lyricism is like a Drake.
Yeah.
Like, Drake just makes hella good songs. I don't necessarily have to be a huge fan of an artist to know that they just make some good songs.
Yeah.
And lyrically it'd be on point. I just think that it gets so popular that it kind of loses the idea that there was actual lyricism in there. Another one, and I just say this like a Kanye West, right? Like Kanye West, I've always said for years that Kanye's career as a producer. He had became so big as a producer that I think it kind of overshadowed the fact that Kanye really can freaking rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He can.
He really had flow. You know what I mean? But as far as newer guys, I think there are a couple of guys that are new that has flow. I just have to listen to some more music, man. I have to listen to some more because I'll catch little pieces of stuff every now and then of the newer cats, and I'll be like, yo, that was dope. But I think there's a few guys that I really need to buckle down and listen to.
Now, there is artists from New Orleans, and I think that maybe they sometimes go overlooked as well, too. Wanted to get your thought on that. 3D Not T.
Oh, well, let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you this. And I don't say this lightly.
Well, that's why I'm posing the question to you, because your opinion of someone who spits lyrics.
And I want to apologize profusely for not mentioning her earlier. 3D Not T is one of the dopest MCs I have ever heard. She's one of the best battle rappers I have ever heard. Lyrically, cadence-wise,
creatively,
something serious.
I just had to get your take on it.
We did a spoiler alert.
Okay, so are we getting like an exclusive here? I feel good now.
I'll just say this. We got together to do something. I wrote something. I recorded it. And then I spoke with her afterwards and asked her would she be a part of it. And she said she would be honored to. And after she told me that she would be honored to, I went back and rewrote everything that I put on that verse in anticipation for what I knew she was bringing.
Because you know you got to come serious.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you who else is a lyricist that I think that because I think that the imagery probably overshadows the fact that he's a true lyricist, and that's Currency.
Huge fan of Currency.
Another one that's real witty, real crafty, and yeah, I think the fact that he's known now, he likes the smoke and low riders, right?
Right.
So I think that because people forget, or I think it blows by some people that
he can really go.
Nah, he really spitting. You know what I mean?
And I think he's done a good job of cultivating a fan base where it's like he doesn't even have to be a part of a machine. It's like he can put out a project and tour on that project for months. And then come back and he consistently puts out just multiple projects in the run of the year. So yes, he is definitely someone who belongs in that conversation.
Yeah, and a good dude too. Genuinely a good cat.
Okay, now since we on the topic of music and current music now, I gotta ask about your current music. I know again you have to feed your need for being around family because that's important. And I think that even with artists, people forget that artists are people. Right. And that they, especially if they've come out of a insurmountable type of situation that you came out of, you just want to breathe. It's, you want to take your time and breathe. Right. But because of what you're famous for, people want to know. Current music, how's that going?
Man, the weird thing is, it's on the way.
And by the way, I remember when you dropped 21 something.
It's on the way, America. So, yeah, we got music coming. It was I had to get adjusted to the way these digital platforms, just the way they're doing music now. It was an adjustment for me. I make no excuses. It took longer than I expected. but it's coming, and when it comes, it's going to be consistent. Like projects are going to be coming back to back to back to back. It's just it took me a while to get acclimated to my freedom. Excuse me, and other things took a lot as well. Just learning how fickle the market is now, and just how to navigate it, has been a challenge that I was up for. So I've been out now over a year, and I got a little chance to get my foundation solid, which is what I wanted. Was the most important thing, just getting my feet on solid ground. And now that it is, and everything is straight. Now I think it's time. I'm gonna just start bringing it. Now, the music is more mature. It's different, of course. I mean, just by my own standard, I think it would be foolish of me to record more albums that sound like Shellshock or World War III. I mean, I'm 45 years old. I got grandkids. I mean, right. It would be idiotic of me to get on a song and scream murder, murder. That would be crazy.
Right.
So the music is definitely a reflection of maturity. It's a reflection of my views. I'm an artist, so what I do is I take the way I feel or the way my perception of certain things, and I turn them into song, and that's what people can expect. I'm gonna have fun on there. I'm sarcastic. I mean, that's just part of being me, and I embrace all of it. I definitely got some thought-provoking stuff, and the music is probably more jazzier because I've always been a fan of jazz. I just always wanted to incorporate jazz in my sound. That's why I was a fan of like Tribe Called Quest and people like that when I was a kid, because unbeknownst to me at the time, I liked their sound, and I knew it was jazz because I used to dig in a lot of crates with some of my friends that were DJs and play these old jazz records looking for a loop to make a beat out of. And I would later learn over years, it didn't dawn on me at that time that what those New York artists were sampling was the New Orleans sound.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I always wondered why I had such a connection to that sound. And, it's the reality. The reality is, man, that's just part of my DNA. I mean, that's the heartbeat of the city.
Well, I can tell you as someone who purchased 21 Summers the first day it dropped.
Oh man, appreciate that.
Your audience grew up with you as well, so you don't have to worry about having to scream murder, kill, because guess what? Your audience is married, got 401ks, and they are anticipating your heralded return to the mic. It has been an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to sit here with you to talk about, your story, your future plans, and if you have any words you want to leave us with, I'm not gonna say, last words, final words, but if you have any words you want to leave us with, you can.
Nah, I just want to say that 21 Summers is on all streaming platforms. You can find me or follow me at Mac Phipps Official on Instagram. I think we have a few social media platforms, but the music is coming. New record, Son of the City, will be on its way. I want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you to the homie Tim Wilkerson. And if nothing else, it's been some mad game for you, homie.
Mac, thank you again, man. I really appreciate it. Just remember, you either at the table or you're on the menu. We out.